Yeah, hello everyone, myself Maruti, welcome you all to this math video session. In this video, I'm going to a geometrical shape which is nothing but a right angle triangle. Alright, so as you all know, in a right angle triangle, we have three sides and three angles. Okay, but as he has already said, as it is a right angle triangle, we can guess one of the angle is 90 degrees. Okay, so we are having three sides. So out of these three sides, as it is a right angle triangle, what are the names we are going to call it as? Right, what the labeling we are going to give it to those three sides, and in that three sides, did he give the value of any side, or what he is asking us to find? So let's work on that one. So what he says, the altitude of a right angle triangle is 7 centimeters less than its base. I repeat, the altitude of a right angle triangle is 7 centimeters less than its base. Right? And if hypotenuse is 13 centimeters, find the other two sides. So please remember, he has straight away given the value of one of the sides, which is nothing but hypotenuse. Right? So what is an hypotenuse? Right? In a right angle triangle, and which are the two sides? And what is the relation between both the two sides? Missing sides, we have to figure it out and find the other two sides. Means hypotenuse he has given to us. Now he is asking us to find the other two sides. If you check it out, if you go systematically, what he is talking about? He is talking about a triangle. Yes, it's a triangle. And what kind of triangle he is talking about? He is talking about a right angle triangle. So as you all know, a triangle has three sides. But if it is a right angle triangle, if you take one of the angles as 90 degrees, we call it as a right angle triangle. Now you have to remember, the side opposite to right angle 90 degrees is nothing but hypotenuse. If you consider this side as B, this as A, and this as C, now the side opposite to B is nothing but side AC. This we are supposed to call it as hypotenuse. Point one. And the next one, right, the side on which the triangle is considered as the base, right, the bottom on which it is landing. Now I like to call this side as the base. Okay, now this we call it as hypotenuse, this we call it as base. Now what is the other side? Right, we have to remember, right, altitude is nothing but the side which is perpendicular to the base, which is perpendicular, means 90 degrees to the base. Now according to this shape, we call this as altitude. Altitude, of course, you have to remember, altitude is also called as height. Now, out of these three sides, he has given the value of hypotenuse as 13 centimeters. Okay, now, which are the other two sides left over? He's talking about the base and he's talking about the altitude. What's the value of the base and what's the height altitude? This is what the question we have. Now, just let's think on how many sides are missing. Two sides are missing. What are those? The base and the altitude. So as two things are missing, obviously we need two relations, right? Two relations should be there to set up to find the values of two variables. What are those relations, right? What is the foundation what he has given? That we can figure it out by checking out the keywords what we have or what are the relations. If you have checked it out, altitude, we took it up. Right angle triangle we have considered. Right, now what are the relations? Generally we set up relation by using the basic operation of mathematics: addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. Right, so regarding that one, what is a keyword which is talking about one of the relations of mathematics? The keyword is nothing but less than. This is the keyword which we have to consider. Less than means always we have to consider it's nothing but subtraction or take away or minus. So that is the first relation what he has given. But please remember, how many variables are there? Two variables are missing. Right. How many relation he is talking about? Only one. We need to search about one more relation. We need to search about one more relation. What is that relation? Right. What is the relation he is talking about? Right. So we didn't find any relation there. The first one is nothing but the less than. Fine. But what is the other relation? Means if you search for the word right angle triangle. Right. So obviously, what's the meaning of a right angle triangle? So whenever we come across a right angle triangle, right. Now, let's talk about the first relation first. What is the relation he's talking about? Less than. So the relation he's talking about less than. So which side is less than what? Right, which side is less than what? We have to understand that. What is the comparison? The altitude of a right angle triangle is 7 centimeters less than its base. Okay, the altitude, that's what the sentence. Altitude is 7 centimeters less than its base. Fine. Which side is compared to what? The altitude is compared to the base. You have to remember that one. The altitude is compared to the base. Okay, that is the first relation. And what is the second relation? Right, you have to remember he's talking about right angle triangle. So whenever we are supposed to talk about a right angle triangle, always we have to remember that we can apply Pythagoras Theorem. Right, Pythagoras Theorem is the other relation which relates what are the three sides of a triangle. So now you got it. So out of three sides, one side he has given. Right. So one of the base and the altitude are the other two sides. He is asking us to find the two sides. So there are two unknowns. So when there are two unknowns, we need two relations. For the sake of searching those two relations, I went in search of the keywords there. The first keyword what I got is less than. So one of the basic operation is minus. Where less than means you take it as a minus. We have to set using that relation. We have to get one relation. The second one, right, we didn't find any basic operation like more, times, product, squared, area. We didn't get any word. So then we started thinking about the word right angle triangle. Is there any theorem applying a right angle triangle? Means yes, we are having Pythagorean theorem. So what is a Pythagorean theorem? It gives the relation between the three sides of a right angle triangle. Alright, so that's what. So hypotenuse square is equal to base square plus altitude square. Right, this is the relation what we are having. So the first relation talking is nothing but the less than. Right, less than between the two sides. What is that? We will figure it out. And what is the second relation? What we got is nothing but the Pythagorean theorem, which says hypotenuse square is equal to base square plus altitude square. By using these two relations, let's set two equations. But please remember, right, one relation is in terms of addition and subtraction, and one relation is in terms of the squares. Right, means they are not like relations. Like relation means addition and subtraction becomes one category, and product, area, square, those all becomes one category. Okay, so there are different relations. So let's use the first relation to eliminate one of the variable. And let's plug in that in the Pythagorean theorem so that we can solve that one. How does it goes on? I will go step by step now. Okay, so whatever I have said you in a logical manner, what I have introduced, the keywords, the relations, how to think of. Let's go in a systematic step-by-step procedure so that we can solve it and find the value of the base and the altitude. So what he has given, let's work on in this way. Right, what he is talking, he's talking about a right angle triangle. So when he's talking about a right angle triangle, obviously we have to consider a right angle triangle. Consider a right angle triangle, it's of your choice. It may be XYZ or PQR. My favorite, ABC always. Consider a triangle ABC. Fine, I have taken a triangle ABC. But I didn't say it is a right angle triangle. When does it become a right angle triangle? Obviously, one of the angles should be 90 degrees. So that's what is such that angle B is equal to 90 degrees. So I have taken angle B. Therefore, now the triangle became right angle triangle. Now, so out of these sides, we know this side is nothing but the hypotenuse. Okay, the bottom side, as I have already introduced, it's nothing but the base. It's nothing but the height or the altitude. Okay, so height or the altitude. Now let's label them. Right, let the base. What is the base now? Right, we have two sides, so obviously we go with the two variables, x and y. But which should be considered as x and which should be considered as y? That's a beautiful thing what we have to understand. So for that one, let me tell a logic for you. So see here, according to the problem, altitude is 7 centimeters less than its base. Which side is less than which side? Which side is compared to whom? That's the tricky part. Altitude is compared to the base. How it is compared? You know the numbers and the symbols. But which side is compared to which? Altitude is compared to the base. Now, please remember, to the one which the comparison is done, the other one, right? To which comparison is done, that should be taken as x, and which is compared, that should be taken as y. It's just to make you better understand the sum, right? The one to which comparison is done, that you take it as x, and which is compared, that should be taken as y. Now, altitude is compared to the base. Okay, now I like to take the base as x. The base I like to call it as x. Right. So now, as the unit is going on in terms of centimeters, I like to go with centimeters itself. Okay. So let's the base AB is equal to x centimeters. Now, as I said, altitude is so and so 7 centimeters less than. Now, which is compared? Altitude is compared. Now, let the altitude be taken as y centimeters. Cool. Now, don't forget, he has given the hypotenuse is 13 centimeters. Right? In the next step itself, you write it down. Given, what is given? Right? Hypotenuse, here we are calling hypotenuse AC is equal to 13 centimeters. These are the three calculations what we are having. Let the base be x centimeters, right? Let the altitude is y. This we are taking it as x, and altitude or height, we are taking it as y. Okay, now hypotenuse he has already given, it's nothing but 13. We got all the three sides. Okay, after labeling all the sides, let's think about the relations what we have. How many variables we are having now? We are having two variables, x and y. We don't want two variables. Why? Because one of the relations is in terms of power. Pythagorean theorem, square of the hypotenuse. We already got square. Square means it's a quadratic equation. Quadratic equation, we should have only one variable. We don't want two. Right? Means how did you get we are going to use Pythagorean? Means before starting the sum itself, we have to analyze the sum. And how to analyze? I have said you already. So then, basing upon the analyzation, after reading the question thoroughly, analyzing the keywords, setting the relations, then start the sum as if I have done for it now. Now, so what is the relation? We don't want two variables. We like to eliminate one of the variable. For that, let's take the first relation what he has given. What he said, according to the problem, altitude is 7 centimeters less than its base. This is what the relation what he has said. What he said, altitude, right, is equals. Now here the tricky part. 7 centimeters less than its base. Now, as I said you earlier, this is a sentence. The order of the sentence and order of the symbol will be always in the opposite direction. We have to remember this one, right? This is a logical thing what we have to remember. Order of the sentence and order of the symbols are always in the opposite direction. Just let me know. 7 less than base. Okay, 7 is here. Base is here, and we call the base as x, and 7 is here, and less than means minus. This is in the sentence, but when we are taking in terms of symbol, never go in the straight way, always write in the opposite way. As if we are having 7 at the beginning, now you write 7 at the ending. Obviously the minus, the x which is at the ending, please write it down at the beginning. Are you able to understand? Altitude. What is altitude? We know the altitude. We took it as y. Therefore, y is equal to x minus 7. This is what the relation what we got. If you want, before the step, you can write it down. Altitude is equal to base minus 7. What is base? Base is nothing but x. It depends upon you. If you want to write straight away x minus 7, you can go ahead. Otherwise, y is equal to x minus 7. So which we are going to call it as equation 1. Means with the help of the first equation, what did you get? In the place of y, to eliminate y, in the place of y, we can use x minus 7. So with the help of the first relation, we are able to eliminate one of the variable, that is nothing but y. But it's a quadratic, as we have said, we are supposed to go to the second equation, second relation. What is the second relation he has given? According to the Pythagorean theorem, how did you get the Pythagorean? As I said, obviously, it's nothing but right angle triangle. So, in a right angle triangle, square of the hypotenuse, whatever the hypotenuse is there, square of the hypotenuse is sum of the squares of the other two sides. This is what you have to remember. In a right angle triangle, yes, it's a right angle triangle. Square of hypotenuse, whatever is there, hypotenuse square is. Till here it's good, right? Square of the hypotenuse is we have sum of the, yes, squares of other two sides. Which are the other two sides when one of the side is hypotenuse? The other two sides are nothing but the base, and the other side is nothing but altitude. Right. So what is saying? Sum of the squares of the other two sides. These are the two relations what he has given. Okay. Now, with the help of the Pythagorean theorem and the formula of the Pythagorean theorem, let's utilize according to the sum what we are having. So if you check it out, hypotenuse, what is the side we are talking about? Hypotenuse is nothing but AC. AC square equals, what's the base? Base is nothing but AB. AB square plus, what's the altitude? Altitude is nothing but BC. This is Pythagorean theorem according to the problem. Now, let us plug in the values what we are having. What's the value of AC? AC is nothing but the hypotenuse and it is nothing but 13. 13 square equals AB. AB we are calling it as base. And what's the value of base? It's nothing but x centimeters. X or simply x squared plus BC. BC, what is that BC? It's nothing but the height or the altitude, and we are calling it as y. So it's nothing but y squared. So this is the value what we have. 13 squared is equal to x squared plus y squared. But if you check it out, we are having only one equation, and how many variables we have? 2. Right. So when we are having two variables and one equation, we can't solve the value of x and y. Then what to do? We need only one variable. So how to do? Let's eliminate one of the variable. How to? Let's take the help of the first equation. That's what we said. Wherever you find y, replace it with x minus 7. That's what we are having. 13 squared is equal to x squared plus in the place of y, let's plug in the value of y, that's nothing but x minus 7. How did you get that? You make it clear from equation 1. From equation 1, I'm able to get that value. Right? So after that, let's simplify that one. And suppose if you check it out, how many equations you have? 1. How many variables you have? 1. Means it's possible. Solution is possible. Number of equations is equal to number of variables. So solution is possible. Let's solve it and find the solution. Let's simplify that. 13 square 169 equals x squared. Now if you check it out, it's in the value or formula of a minus b whole square. Now which we apply the a squared plus the b squared minus 2 into a into b, that x times 7. I'm using the formula a squared plus b squared minus 2 into a into b. If you simplify, 169 equals x squared plus x squared, it's 2x squared minus, so it's nothing but 14x. Okay, now let's convert in the form of a standard equation. So let's transpose 169 to the other side. 0 equals 2x squared minus 14x minus 169 is equal to 0. Right. So, but if you if you convert in the standard form in a proper way, it's nothing but 2x squared minus 14x minus 169 equals 0. Let us check it out. 13 squared x squared 49. I think we lost the value of 7 square, which is nothing but 49. Right, 2x squared, 7 squared is nothing but 49 here. So don't forget that 49 as if I did it. So plus 49, right, if you check it out, it's nothing but plus 49 equals 0. Now, if you set the equation, right, we'll be having something like, I can write it down for you. Here the equation becomes 2x squared, right, minus 14x, right, minus 120 equals 0. This is the equation what we got. How to solve it? Okay, so we got the equation 2x squared minus 14x minus 120 is equal to 0. So is it a standard one? Yeah, it's a standard one, but the quotient of x squared is 2. Alright, whenever the quotient is x squared is 2, if possible, let the quotient of x squared be 1. So then, is there any chance? Is it a 2 multiple? Is 14 a 2 multiple? Yes. Is 120 a 2 multiple? Yes. So take 2 as common now. If you take 2 as common, we'll be getting x squared minus 7x minus 60 is equal to 0. Yes. Right. Now it's looking like a standard form. Now send the 2 to the other side. It becomes 0. X squared minus 7x minus 60 equals 0. This is the equation what we got now. Right, so now let's work on, let's factorize that. This is the equation we got, let's factorize that. So let's take 60, and if you go with the 2, it's nothing but 30, and if you go with the 2, it's 15, right? So we are in search of, the factors such that the sum or the product should be something like 15. So if you check it out, right, let's go with the 3 here, it's nothing but 5. Okay, now if you sum up, or if you times of all those things, 3 2s 6, 6 2s 3 2 6, 6 2s 12, and it's nothing but 5. Right, I have selected these two factors. I repeat, the quotient of this one is 1. 1 times 60 is 60. I'm prime factorizing the 60 so that I can catch up two factors of 60 such that if you add or subtract, I get the middle one, that is minus 7. So what I took, I have prime factorized it, right? 2 it goes, I got the factors like 2, 2, 3 and 5. So I have multiplied all these 3. 3 2 6, 6 2 12, and the other one is 5. If you multiply both of them, we are getting the number 60. So what are the two factors what I have chosen? 12 and 5. But if you add or subtract, we should get the minus 7. So what I am doing, I am taking minus 12 and plus 5. Obviously, we will be getting minus 7. So the middle term, I like to split in this way, minus 12x and plus 5x. Let's work on x squared minus 12x plus 5x minus 60 equals 0. Okay, now taking common, if you take x as common here, you'll be getting x minus 12 in between the first and the second terms. Now if you think about the common for the third and fourth terms, as we are having plus at the beginning, take plus here, and we are having the number 5. Do you have number 5 here? Yes. Why? Because 60 can be written as 5 into 12. Okay, means we are having 5 and 5 there. Let's take 5 as common. If you take 5 as common, here x is there, minus, if you remove 5, it's nothing but 12. Okay, in both the brackets, we are having the same numbers, means what we have done is correct. Now, let's take the one which is common, same, let's take that as common, that is x minus 12 and x plus 5 equals 0. This is the value what we got. Now, if we apply zero product to property by zero product to property, right, we are having if a into b equals 0 implies either a is equal to 0 or b is equal to 0. This is called zero product property. Means the multiplication of any two terms is 0, then obviously first one is 0 or second one is 0 or both are 0. That is what the zero product property says. Then here if you check it out, x minus 12 is equal to 0, the first one, or x plus 5 equals 0. This is the value what we got. Now if you simplify, x equals 12 and x equals minus 5. We got the two values. Okay, out of these two, shall we take both? We have to think on. Why? Because we are talking about the sides of a triangle, and x is nothing but the base. X is nothing but the base, right? We all know now length of any side can't be negative. That is what we know that. What we know, this is the basic truth what we have. Length can't be negative. Right, length can't be negative. Therefore, the concept of x is equal to minus y can't be. And which one should be right? X is equal to 12. Therefore, which implies x equals 12, which implies base of triangle. Base of triangle. This is what we got it. But he's not only asking you to find the base, but he is asking us to find the altitude also, right? So what's the altitude what he has given here? So now what we got? Now we got base comma x equals, what is the side we got? It's nothing but 12. Now what is the relation we have with the altitude? Altitude, what's the relation we have? We call it as y. How much it is less? 7 centimeters. Right. X, right? What it says? Altitude is 7 centimeters than its base. Less than. Base minus 7. This is what? But base we consider it as x. That's nothing but x minus 7. That is 12 minus 7, which is nothing but 5. Therefore, altitude, right, comma, y, we got it as 5. Okay, cool. But until and unless we verify that, we can't say that it's true. Whatever the values what we got. But please remember, here we have framed the equations, or we got the equation by taking the relation 1. What is that relation? Base E, the altitude is 7 centimeters less than its base. Now don't choose that. Go to the second relation what he has given. What is the second relation what we have chosen? Pythagorean theorem. Never substitute in the same from where we got it. Always substitute in the other relation from where we have to verify. Let's go for the verification now. Right. What's the verification here? Right. What he says, right, according to the Pythagorean theorem, hypotenuse square is equal to base square plus altitude square, right? Okay, what is the base value we got? We got the base value as 12, or simply x squared plus y squared. Okay, but in the question what he has given, the length of the hypotenuse is 13. That is what he says, 13. Right, 13. Now let's think on that one. Right, the hypotenuse, how much he has given? 13. Now hypotenuse squared means this. Let's plug in the values. So hypotenuse square, what is the x value we got? It's nothing but 12 squared. And what's the y value you got? Y value got, it is nothing but 5 squared. Now 13 square is nothing but 169. 12 square is nothing but 144. Plus 5 square is nothing but 25. Now if you check it out, 169 equals 169. LHS is equal to RHS. Means relation 2 is verified. Here relation 2 is verified. So we got the answers from relation 1 and we plugged in the relation 2. Obviously it is verified. So if it is verified, we can conclude that. What are the twos? What is the conclusion? Base is 12 centimeters and altitude is 5 centimeters. But the hypotenuse, base is, we got the base is 12 centimeters. Altitude is equal to, we got it as 5 centimeters when hypotenuse equals, what's that? 13 centimeters. So this is the verification and we can conclude that the other two sides are this. Hope you are able to understand. Thank you. In this channel, I have been placing both math and science videos